everyone, welcome back to Lesson 8 of Actual English with me, Jennifer Clyde. It's wonderful to have you joining me back once again. Now, this week, throughout the week, we're talking about growing up perhaps, and we're practicing talking about what we were like during certain periods of our lives. We began talking about our elementary years and then our middle and high school years. Today, let's focus on our university years and also talk about how we prepared for jobs. So today's topic is university and job preparations. Often when someone asks you about university, you may simply talk about what you majored in, what you studied, how you had 2 majors, or what you minored in. But instead of that, we'll talk about perhaps, yes, what you studied in university and how that is linked to your current job or what kind of link it had to your career, okay? So we'll talk about your career goals perhaps, how you prepared for a job, and what you studied in university. Whether you were happy with your choice or the opposite, whether you were unhappy with your choice of choosing a certain major in university. As for me, when I was in college, I think it was more about having fun with friends than studying. So I do have regrets. I do regret not having studied as much. I guess I should have studied a bit more. But my major is not directly linked to what I do right now. So at that time, I wasn't really thinking about my future career. I wonder what the story is in your case. Anyhow, let's begin with our first segment, which happens to be Actual Talk.
I don't know if I've asked you this question before, Rachel. What did you major in at university?
I studied political science and history in the humanities.
Sounds intelligent.
It was really fun.
Really?
I liked
political science and history.
And that's why I studied it, because I liked it.
It's good to study what you enjoy,
Exactly.
definitely. That's why I chose my major as well, biological sciences, because at high school I really liked biology, but at university it got so difficult. I actually despised it by the end of my course.
Which is probably why you don't have a career in that
I'm
field
not a
right
scientist.
now.
Yeah.
That's true.
Absolutely.
So you took a different career path, I see.
For sure, yeah. I wanted nothing to do with biology after I finished my course. But is your career linked to your degree?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I am studying political science further right now that I can reach my end goal, which is to work for like a development organization, some kind of humanitarian relief effort organization, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, so in college I did a lot of internships that had that were related to NGOs or some kind of development group.
During semester time?
Well, during the semester I studied a lot. I did party a lot too. They say like if you play hard or if you study hard, you can play hard.
Exactly.
So
you
that's
shouldn't
what I did.
just play hard.
Exactly, yeah. And then in the summer vacation times, during those times, I did internships. And it was really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the last question. Is there anything you regret about university?
If I had to say one thing, I would say that I regret not studying more.
Wow. Seems like you studied a bit.
No, I wasn't like super studious, but I wish that I had really just taken everything that I could from my classes and my professors, really soak up my brain. But there were times where I liked the fun college aspect more, so I would slack off. But
That's okay. And like we know, it's never too late to study, Rachel. And you're still studying today.
I am. It's never too late to learn.
There you go.
Here we are back again, ready to take a look at today's actual talk. So briefly, to summarize what Peter and Rachel talked about today. So how much did you understand? You don't have to really remember exactly what majors they studied, but to refresh your memory, Rachel said that she studied political science and it was in the humanitarian sector, right? What about Peter? He studied biological science, 2 very difficult majors. Okay, anyhow, they began talking about what they majored in college and how their majors are linked to what they do or what they plan to do in the future. Rachel seems to have the same regrets. She said back in middle and high school, she regrets having not studied enough. She wishes and she regrets that she had studied harder, and she said the same thing about university. What about Peter? Of course, there is no link between his major and what he does right now for a living. Well, anyhow, let's take a look at what they talked about line by line. All right, here we go. First of all, Peter, he began by asking Rachel her major in university, right? So it's a very simple question. Rachel, what did you major in at university? Very simple. And then she says, I majored in so-and-so, or I studied political science and history in the humanities. And that's where she ends her sentence. You can also say humanities sector, all right? S-E-C-T-O-R, in the humanities sector, in that division. And then he says, wow, that sounds intelligent. Yeah, even if someone told me political science and history, I'd be like, wow, that's a very difficult, very complicated major. So that's just a way of making the conversation very natural. He's commenting. He's making a comment by saying, wow, that sounds intelligent. You must be smart. And he says, and difficult. But Rachel says, no, not at all. It was really fun. All right, let's move on. Peter says, really? Political science and history? Meaning, you said it's fun? Political science and history is fun? No way. All right, anyhow, they move on. And Rachel explains to him why she thinks that it was interesting. How political science and history can be really fun. She says, that's why I studied it, because I liked it. Right? The order is slightly awkward. It could be awkward to you, but it's said in this order naturally and quite commonly. So she says, that's why I studied it, because I liked it. You can say, I liked it, so that's why I studied it. That's fine. And then Peter says, that's why I chose my major as well. That's why, meaning what? Because he liked biological science as well. And he says, biological sciences, and he mentions what his major was. But, he says, it got so difficult, I actually despised it by the end of my course. All right, so let's take a look at this. So Rachel, we know what she studied. She really, really liked that major. And Peter says, well, yes, even for me, I chose my major, which happens to be biological sciences, because I liked it too. However, right? But it got so difficult. Oh, it was much more complicated than I thought. It was much more difficult than I thought it would be. I actually despised it, okay, by the end of the course, meaning by the end of school, by the time he graduated college. But the word here is to despise. It's D-E-S-P-I-S-E. Despise, despise. To despise something or someone, it means to dislike someone. Or actually, it's a stronger word, so it means to hate something or someone. So although he really enjoyed it, he liked the major in the beginning of the course, by the end of the course, he hated biological science. Let's move on. So she asks, so you took a different career path, I see. This is not necessarily a question, but she says, I understand. So, since you hated it, you took a different career path, meaning, so you decided to do something that isn't related to biological sciences. And he says, for sure, yes, definitely. And he says, I wanted nothing to do with biology after I finished my course. As you see the star, we'll be taking a look at that expression in just a bit. So to want nothing to do with something means you don't want to do anything related to it. Anything that is related to something. You don't want anything to do with it. And then he asks, but is your career linked to your degree? Now, link in this case means connect. So in other words, he's asking, but is your career, is your job, is what you do connected to your degree? Is it related to your degree? And then they continue on talking. But let's first of all take a look at want nothing to do with something or someone, or want everything to do with something or someone. First of all, that expression was in today's actual talk, right? Peter said, well, I wanted nothing to do with it, meaning nothing to do with biological sciences. So, a sentence. In university, I wanted nothing to do with partying. So what does that mean? Nothing to do with partying. It means I did not want to party. I wanted to do everything else but partying. Okay, this is out. Never. I don't want to do it. In this case, it's the opposite. Want everything to do with something or someone means you like it so much, you want to do everything that is related to it. So a sentence is, I wanted everything to do with learning about Shakespeare. So in this case, yeah, it's very simple. Everything meaning I wanted to do everything that was related to Shakespeare. Got it? So please do keep in mind, want nothing to do with something or someone, or want everything to do with something or someone. All right? Moving back to the actual talk conversation, Rachel says, yeah, a little bit. I mean, I am studying political science further right now. Remember, Peter asked her, is your career linked to your career? So she says, yeah, a little bit. And then she talks about what she's doing right now. She is studying political science further, more right now, so that I can reach my end goal. End goal is another word for ultimate goal, my final goal. I'm studying political science even more, further right now, so that I could reach my final goal. And then she says, which is to work for a development organization, some kind of humanitarian relief effort organization. Now, this is an organization or all kinds of organizations that have something to do with helping others, right? Okay. And then she talks about college. She says, in college, in university, during the semester. This is during the semester, right? The time when students usually study. I studied a lot. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is when you say in college, it's very simple. In elementary school, in middle school, in high school, and also when you go to college, you can say in college or in university. I've had this question asked several times in Korea. A few people asked me, wait, a 2-year college should be called a college, right? But a 4-year university, why is it also called a college? Well, to be strict, that's true. You can call a 2-year school a college and a 4-year one a university. But it's very common for people to say college and university. It's used almost as commonly. Okay, so college, university is the same thing. 대학. Keep that in mind. Now, she also talks about partying a lot, having a lot of fun, right? Hanging out with friends. I did party a lot too. You know, they say if you study hard, you can play hard. So that's what I did. That's right. Okay. And then Peter says, yeah, you shouldn't just play hard. If you only play hard, it means you don't have time to study. So you should balance A and B, or balance A with B. Study hard and also play hard. And then she talks about what she did during summer. And in the summer vacation times, I did internships, and it was really helpful. Okay? If you have maybe a situation or a time where you have to talk about internships, keep in mind it's very simple. You do internships. You do internships. She's talking about the past, so she's saying, during the summer, I did internships. And then Peter says, okay, well, the last question. There's one more question. Is there anything you regret about university? Okay, let's check it out. Wow, it's a long sentence. Anyhow, Rachel says, if I had to say one, I would say that. Here we go. I regret not studying more. This is something that you and I, many of us regret, not having studied more. And she says, I wasn't super studious. We did take a look at this previously. Studious means very hardworking, a student that studies very, very hard, a good student. But she says she wasn't super. Super in this case means very. So I wasn't very studious, but I wish that I had taken everything that I could from my classes. Now, take here means not to grab something and take home with you, but this means to absorb, learn in this case. So she's saying, I wish that I had learned everything from all of my classes. Really soak up my brain. Soak up also means to absorb, but in this case it means to learn, okay, remember. But there were times where I liked the fun, college aspect, so I would slack off. We'll take a look at soak up right here and also slack off right here. Slack off basically means to get really lazy and not do anything. So here we go. Soak up, as I did mention, it means to soak up, to absorb, right? Sponges absorb water. In this case, it means to learn, right? So you can say, I try to soak up every detail of my professor's lectures. So I try to remember, I try to learn all the details of my professor's lectures. Let's take a look at slack off then. Once again, it means to get really lazy, right? And not do anything. Here we go. During my sophomore year, I began to slack off and my grades dropped. That's right. So as a student in school, if you don't study and if you slack off and not do anything, relax and just get really lazy, your grades are going to drop, right? So that's what you can say if you didn't study in college. One more time. During my sophomore year, I began to slack off, and as a result, my grades dropped. Here we go. Back to the actual talk. Peter says that's okay, and like we all know, it is never too late to study. That's right. And Rachel agrees, and she says, yeah, it's never too late to learn. That is an idiomatic expression. It's never too late to learn. It's never too late to study. And I also want to add, it's never too late to do anything. Also, it's never too late to apologize. Anyhow, now let's take a listen to the actual talk one more time, this time with the subtitles.
I don't know if I've asked you this question before, Rachel. What did you major in at university?
I studied political science and history in the humanities.
Sounds intelligent
and
difficult.
It was really fun.
Really?
I liked
political science and history.
And that's why I studied it, because I liked it.
It's good to study what you enjoy,
Exactly.
definitely. That's why I chose my major as well, biological sciences, because at high school I really liked biology, but at university it got so difficult. I actually despised it by the end of my course.
Which is probably why you don't have a career in that
I'm
field
not a scientist. Yeah.
That's true.
Absolutely.
So you took a different career path, I see.
For sure, yeah. I wanted nothing to do with biology after I finished my course. But is your career linked to your degree?
A little bit. I mean, I am studying political science further right now that I can reach my end goal, which is to work for like a development organization, some kind of humanitarian relief effort organization, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, so in college I did a lot of internships that had that were related to NGOs or some kind of development group.
During semester time?
Well, during the semester, I studied a lot. I did party a lot, too. They say, like, if you play hard or if you study hard, you can play hard.
Exactly.
So
you shouldn't just play hard.
Exactly, yeah. And then in the summer vacation times, during those times, I did internships. And it was really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the last question. Is there anything you regret about university?
If I had to say one thing, I would say that I regret not studying more.
Wow. Seems like you studied a bit.
No, I wasn't like super studious, but I wish that I had really just taken everything that I could from my classes and my professors, really soak up my brain. But there were times where I the fun college aspect more, you know, so I would slack off. But.
That's okay. And like we know, it's never too late to study, Rachel. And you're still studying today.
I am. It's never too late to learn.
There you go.
Now today we asked Yijin to tell us all about her college years, what her university life was like, what those years were like, and if she has any regrets. So are you ready? Listen carefully.
As I mentioned earlier, I regretted my middle school and high school life. So when I entered university, I decided to change a little bit. So I started studying really hard and also made new people. So I ended up becoming a student representative in my department and also a president of school union clubs, which have more than 3,000 members. And also, I had to think about my future career, so I moved to America and worked in a hotel because I was always interested in becoming working in the hospitality industry. So I worked there, and with the money I made there, I traveled a lot because I love traveling. So I had great experience, and also it was a good opportunity to meet new people and to know other cultures. So when I look back on my college time, then I would say it was quite a happy moment.
Well, she seems to have talked about many things. She talked about her regrets in college, how well or how much she didn't study in college, what she did to prepare for a job, and she also did mention what she was interested in. So let's take a look at what she mentioned in today's actual story. Here we go. First of all, she said, I regretted my middle and high school life. She did mention this earlier, so it's very good to kind of refresh the other person's memory. And she says, so when I entered university, I decided to change a little bit. So this is a wonderful way to actually talk about something. If you take a look, I regretted something, so I went to university, or when I entered university, I did this. So you have a reason and then a cause and also a result of something. I regretted my middle and high school life, so when I went to college, when I entered college, I decided to change a little bit. Perhaps study harder, right? All right, here's another one. I had to think about my future career. That's right. Also, she's talking about what she had to do. Think about, okay? She had to think about her future career. So, I moved to America and worked in a hotel. This is like she's telling a story. It's like step 1, 2, and 3, right? So step 1, I had to think about my career. So I went to America and worked in a hotel. Boom, because I was always interested in working in the hospitality industry. Okay, so I think it was a good choice. She decided to change a bit. And she did it right then. She didn't think. She moved to America. She started to work in what? The hospitality industry. This is like things you can do at a hotel, even at a theater. Services, things you can do to serve others. So this is what she decided to do. And finally, let's take a look at what else she said. When I look back on my college years, now she's talking about the present, thinking about the past. When I look back on, we did take a look at this pattern earlier. She says, I could say it was quite a happy time. So she's talking about how now she doesn't have any regrets. She's happy about the choices she made and her college life or her college years. Let's make use of this pattern over here in another sentence, okay? Now, think, you're in the present, you're talking about the past, your college years. You can say, when I look back on my college years, I could say that I'm proud of how well I did in school. This is a sentence you can make use of, especially when you studied really hard. If you don't have any regrets, you can say, When I look back on my high school years, when I look back on my college years, university years, I could say I am proud of how well I did in school. I'm proud of how well or how hard I studied in school. So, if you don't have any regrets, make use of this pattern. Okay, and that does it for today's actual story, everyone. That is a wrap.
As I mentioned earlier, I regretted my middle school and high school life. So when I entered university, I decided to change a little bit. So I studying really hard and also made new people. So I ended up becoming a student representative in my department and also a president of school union clubs, which have more than 3,000 members. And also, I had to think about my future career, so I moved to America and worked in a hotel because I was always interested in becoming working in the hospitality industry. So I worked there, and with the money I made there, I traveled a lot because I love traveling. So I had great experience, and also it was a good opportunity to meet new people and to know other cultures. So when I look back on my college time, then I would say it was quite a happy moment.
Now, to tell you a little bit more about what Ijin mentioned in today's actual story is that when she moved to America, she worked in the hospitality industry. And afterwards, she said with the money that she earned, with the money that she saved up from working in the States, she traveled around the world. She also did mention that she was interested in traveling around the world. I think that's a great thing to do. You know, whether you're young or old, you can do it now if you do have the chance and the time and the money. But traveling, I think, is a learning experience. So perhaps if you are a university student preparing for a job, preparing for anything in life, I think it will be so important for you to actually take off. You know, go to a foreign country, whether it's one country, two or three, or even many more. Try to learn about the people in those countries and learn about their cultures. It's all a part of studying to prepare for your future career as well. Okay, we learned a lot of expressions, vocabulary, and idiomatic expressions as well related to university and preparing for a job. So I hope that you can study them, make use of them in the future when talking about the same topic. All right, next time I'll be joining you back again with another interesting one. We're going to move on. So we're getting older now, from elementary, middle and high school, university. Imagine you've graduated college and now you're into dating people and also getting married. So that will be our topic for next time. In the meantime, come to our homepage, find your way over to www.ebse.co.kr and come to our homepage. We are going to post up the actual talk dictations and also the script along with the actual story. That's actually the interview for our actual story segment. So please take a look at that and study the expressions on them as well. And remember to leave us some comments and questions and feedback as always. All right, that is a wrap, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.